All right, as you guys are popping on, take a second to adjust the light here. See if I can get that little line to go away. Maybe not so much. This is an odd hour for me to be going live, so I have different elements to contend with here. What I might do is shift this a little bit. Hi, Sarah. Looking at a little minor technical difficulty here. I just might dodge this light. It's definitely a different time of day to be going live and having different elements to contend with here, which is fine. Hi, Krista. All right, we're going to roll with the light stripe. Live video. Hey, hey. Thanks, Sarah. I'll just let it shine all over. Hey, happy Thursday afternoon for those of us in Colorado, creeping into the evening for those of us on the East Coast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We're weighing in on approval seeking this week. As I mentioned earlier in the week in that first video, we do have a biological drive to be accepted. I think to be accepted and belong, I think that that's in our DNA. And it works in our favor when it fosters healthy connection. Hey, Kyle. But it works against us when we let other people's approval eclipse our own. Yeah? Pop in any comments that you guys have as you've been looking at this week. For those of you that caught that first video, I'd love to hear what was showing up for you and what you observed as you were keeping an eye on it. This is another facet of that internal-external validation, which we talked about a few weeks ago. If you're familiar with the love languages, hi, Danielle. Words of affirmation are great to hear and even more fueling for some that really respond to that way of receiving love and affection. But not being accepted, appreciated, or liked can be really painful, especially for those that are big on words of affirmation. The difference is in how much weight or power, hey, Brian, how much weight or power we give to that other person. If we keep performing or pleasing to get that approval, we're always going to be chasing after it. Believe me, it's nice to get it. It's great to receive that pat on the back, that acknowledgement, knowing that we're accepted, that we belong, but we really need to draw the line at needing that kind of approval. So there's the difference. And if you think about this, when we do get it, when we do get that approval, how truly satisfying is that outside approval? Let's play with that idea. Hi, Jennifer. Hey, Tina. When that outside approval, I know you caught me online, yay! Cool, maybe I should do this with my little light stripe at this time of day more often. So that approval, when it comes from someone else, does it ever truly fill us up in a lasting way? Compare it to something that you know to be true, something that you know is true for you. You believe it with every inch of who you are. You feel it. What's the difference between that feeling and knowing something and believing something with who you are and trusting someone else's word and opinion? How much weight do those different things hold? So one way to think about it. How fulfilling that is. The external approval is nice, but it's superficial. And this is where self-acceptance comes back to the table. I would love to hear from you any tips that you rely on to appreciate yourself, anything that you do throughout the day, throughout the week to tell yourself, I'm okay, rather than waiting for someone else. It's conditional too. Yes. Yeah. You mean like the external sources? Krista's saying it's conditional. Yeah, I believe so too. That would be a lot like putting our control in those outside sources, those outside resources where we really can't control that. The only thing we can control is here. This light's driving me crazy. So yay 2 p.m. for you guys that can catch this, but gonna have to do something about this light. Hi, Robin. So any tips that you all have about how to focus on your own self-acceptance? I try to continue to pop the, I really can't turn it anymore. We're just gonna have to deal with me strafey. Any tips that you have, any comments about how you fill your own tank rather than looking to those outside sources? Pop them in the comments. I'd love to take any feedback, any questions. Love you too, Robin. It's great to see you. It doesn't even have to be about the topic. Always an open discussion on happiness, what that means for you, what you notice. I love to hear everyone's definitions of that. So this is really, it's for all of that, just kind of a live discussion and banter. So for those of us that are maybe not so great at the self-approval, the self-appreciation, one way that I have heard recently, for those of you who like to journal, you could do a self-appreciation journal where you note the things that you know to be true about yourself, that you like about yourself, that you appreciate, that you did well. The idea is that when we're not so great at it, we need to take these small steps to gradually train ourselves that we're okay. And Tina says, super better power-ups are my favorite regular self-encouragement. Ooh, I want to hear more about that. If you type that in, I would love to hear how you define that and what that is. That sounds great. How do you get happy without making others happy? Really excellent question. I do believe that an element of our happiness comes from what we give to others and how we contribute. A lot of times it makes us feel better when we're surrounded by people that are happy, that we know that we're contributing to that happiness. So that's an excellent point. What we're talking about, Robin, here is the difference between needing to do that and allowing it to be an expression of who we are. So we get stuck and trapped when we feel like we need to do this to be okay, to belong. But when we're doing it just as an expression and we feel whole, we know that we're okay, whether they're happy or not. That's the difference. I hope that kind of answers. Hey, Brian Gattoni. And I might have to scroll back up here. Daily dose of 15 minutes of silence and go within yourself for positive affirmations or mentally visiting your happiness place. Great way to tune back in to what is meaningful to us, what matters to us, rather than seeking that outside approval that we're okay. Thank you for that. Brian says, I'm my own biggest critic. Hey, me too. Especially when I'm dodging light. I have to hang up a curtain next time. Outside praise reminds me that it's okay to take pride in our accomplishments. Absolutely. It's really great for us to get that outside validation, to feel connected, to remind ourselves that we're a part of something bigger. So again, that line to draw is just in absolutely needing it. We all need our tribe. We need our support system. We need other people to pull us out of our own stuckness sometimes, which is a lot of why I love coaching, is being that outside mirror to help people see the good stuff about them when they can't. It's not that it's not important and helpful to get that external, you're okay. But we've got to be careful that we don't fall apart when other people don't like us. So that's that healthy line, and we all get to define where that is. Dig it. Needed to hear this today. Fortunately, got to get on a call. Thanks, Kyle, for popping in, and thanks for saying that this helped. Good. I love that, because it certainly helps me. This issue specifically was coming up for me big time this week, and watching how I battle with perfectionism. And it's hard for me to grasp that as somebody who loves people and tries really, really hard to contribute, that still not everybody's gonna like me. And that's tough. But the good news is, when we think about it that way, it's true for all of us. So it doesn't matter who we are sometimes. There are people that are it's just not going to sit well. And that needs to be okay. We need to not beat ourselves up and go chasing after those that say, hey, you're not for me. Because maybe they don't matter. Hi, Ingrid. Robin, thank you. Well, not everybody thinks so, and that's okay. I'm working on that. I just skipped for a little bit. I think I'm back. So what people think about us has more to do with them than it actually has to do with us. If we can let go of needing their approval, we can pay more attention to what is meaningful to us. So that would be the charge for the week. Start to develop your own toolkit for what you can do to truly make yourself happy, not based on what anyone else needs. Lots of different ways to do that, and it is a practice, and paying attention. You were just going to say that. Yes! All right, Krista, way to go. Paying attention to what is meaningful to us, what makes us happy, what resonates with us, what makes us okay, the things that we appreciate about us. When we do that, that's really what resonates with the people that truly matter, those people that we want to keep around us, those people that we can trust, that when they say, you're okay, it feeds us in a healthy way. It supports us, those people that are in our closest tribe. Speaking of our closest tribe, I got to share a funny story of my best friend. This really makes me laugh. When she's worried about how someone else is perceiving her, she loves to joke about, maybe I'm not the most important person in the world. This may come as a shocker to some of you. But it's a funny way of taking a different perspective on what other people are thinking. Maybe those folks that we're worried about, maybe they've got other stuff on their plates. Maybe they're thinking of other things. They're probably not spending every waking moment thinking about us. Maybe we're not the most important person in their world. We need to be the most important person in our world. So it's a good reminder to stop giving them so much energy. Turn that energy around and give it back to us. So Tina is saying power-ups are a game lingo for accomplishment signifiers. Ooh, can we just appreciate that phrase? Accomplishment signifiers. I like that. Make your life a real life game. My power-ups include mini touchdown dance when I successfully reach a mini goal. Kids dropped off, do the dance. Homework done, do the dance. Yes. Dodge the light. Oh, hey, maybe I should start creeping over this direction. Do. Better. Yes. Power-ups, little touchdowns, any ways that we celebrate ourselves, any acknowledgments that we say, hey, you're okay, doesn't matter what anybody else is thinking, but those tiny little ways that we can recognize those little mini moments. Thank you for that, Tina. Ingrid is saying, making other people happy makes me happy regardless of what I get in return. I'm high-fiving you. Bam. Yes. That is what I was talking about earlier. Because when we're giving to other people, if that can fulfill who we are as an expression of our wholeness, of our enoughness, as I was mentioning the other week, then it doesn't matter how they receive it. It's just about us giving, the giving without expectation of return. Fantastic. I love that, Ingrid. So I'd love to hear from you all how you battle with this. If you're watching this after the fact, pop a comment in there. Where do you notice this approval-seeking behavior? Where does it show up? In what areas of your life? Does it show up in some areas and not others? When you start to dig a little deeper, does it show up in a lot of areas, just maybe more obvious in others? Where do you draw the line between seeking connection and acceptance in a healthy way, and when does it creep into unhealthy behavior? That's your charge to watch. Also, tiny little ways that you can give yourself that appreciation, that validation, the pat on the back, and be kind. Be kind, be kind, be kind. When other people are just not giving you what you think you need, where do we go for that approval? Yep, we can go to our trusted sources. We can go to our tribe. Sometimes that's important to build me up. I need a little help here. Throw me that life preserver. But how long does that really last us? We need to come back here to give ourselves that approval and make sure that that always holds the most weight. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are going to be there when we close our eyes and fall asleep. Yeah, to ourselves. Thank you, Krista. Thank you all for popping on. Robin says that every area, people don't want to be around kids, animals, even plants die to get away. Robin, you might have to clarify that one for me. Let me catch up on what you're sharing here. I think you are in agreement and clarifying as well. Would love to hear more about that. I'm going to wrap up, I think, for today, unless there are any last minute comments, clarifications, anything else that you all notice. Maybe I'll try to do a 2 p.m. next week. This seems to have worked for a good chunk of you. I love to be able to see you guys popping on and interacting. Thanks, not that I needed it. But it is nice to have that interaction, that we can all show up and say, hey, me too, I needed this today. I certainly did. It's a great reminder for me to keep going and to start to focus on those little things that are meaningful to me. Love your live feed. Thank you, Tina. Big hugs to all of you. Happy Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Yay. Let me know what you guys are up to this weekend as far as feeding yourselves. Hi, Chris. Now that you're here, I'm signing off. Sayonara. Everybody have a good one, and we'll check in next week. Bye.